Riham asked me early because no, once the class is started, when you're asking, I will not get time. And also it is taking uploading. So when I saw your message, just now I try to upload. Still it is not finished.
So I
It is
have to
going to
remind
upload.
you every day to. Can
No,
you just do it after the class
no,
ends?
my drive is already. I have to delete something to do that. So whenever you need it, ask me. Right? Something if you
Okay.
want to revise it, ask me. A lot of things are on the drive actually. So here, force of electrostatic by force of gravity, we are getting 1.3 into 10 raised to 36, right? So what is the value like that? What is the value that? It means we are getting 1.3 into 10 raised to 36 by 1 actually, right? The ratio, we are doing the ratio. So force of electrostatic force is to force of gravity, right? What you are getting? 1.3 into 10 raised to 36 is to 1. So when we are comparing with gravity, it is very high force, right? In the 11th grade, first chapter, we have learned 4 kinds of forces in the nature, right? So most powerful force is nuclear force, correct? Nuclear force, the force inside an atom. Next to that, gravity. Next to that, electrostatic force. Gravity is very weak force actually, right? Gravity is very weak force. See, so why this calculation can come to know that now. If it is gravity is 1 Newton, electrostatic force is coming how much? For two object, their gravitational force is, we have one object and another object. Between them there is an attractive force, right? If it is 1 Newton, the gravity, see electrostatic force is how much is coming? 1.3 times 10 raised to 6. That much big value you are getting, right? So ratio of the two forces show that electrical forces are enormously stronger than the gravitational force. Okay, to prove that we have done this workings. Fine. Okay, so Yuvesh, you know this values?
Yes, sir. You took my picture.
Right. We are working. So force of electrostatic is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q1 q2 by r square, getting 230 Newton, and force of gravity is 1.7 into 10 raised to minus 34 Newton. When you are taking the ratio, you are getting 1.3 into 10 raised to 36, right?
Yes, sir.
This is B part or A part?
This is
Electron
A,
and proton?
I guess. Yeah, A. This is A.
Electron and proton. Fine. So B part, electron and proton, right? And their acceleration you have to find. So what you got the acceleration? Acceleration of electron is 2.5 into 10 raised to 22 meter per second square. And the acceleration of proton is 1.4 into 10 raised to 19 meter per second square. Since the mass of proton is more than the mass of electron, right? Electron has less mass, so their electron has less mass, so their acceleration is more. Acceleration is force by mass, right? Force by mass. So mass is coming in the denominator. So its value decreases means acceleration increases. Correct? Fine. Now, another question. Another question. Fine. Read the question, Rekha.
1 second. I have to remove this.
Riham, if you want all the classes, I will do another thing. I will upload to my YouTube channel.
What?
YouTube. I can upload to YouTube and I will give you the link. Okay. As a.
So you're gonna publicly upload it?
Not publicly. It is private upload. Only the people who are getting the link can see that. Then would be time consuming then.
Okay. I'll read.
Oh, yeah, wait.
Yeah. A charged metallic sphere A is suspended by a nylon thread. Another charged metallic sphere B, held by an insulating handle, is brought close to A such that the distance between their centers is 10 centimeter, as shown in figure 1.78. So the resting repulsion of A is noted, for example, by shining a beam of light and measuring the deflection of its shadow on a screen. Spheres A and B are touched by the uncharged spheres C and D respectively, as shown in figure 1.7b. C and D are then removed and B is brought closer to A to a distance of 5.0 centimeter between their centers, as shown in figure 1.7c. So what is the expected repulsion of A on the basis of Coulomb's law? Spheres A and C and spheres B and D have identical sizes, so ignore the sizes of A and B in comparison to the separation between the centers.
So this is the figure actually. We have A. See, we have a sphere A. This is suspended on using nylon thread, right? Fine. And 10 centimeter away, we bought another sphere, which are the same charge, positive charge, but it is using by insulator because the charge is not flowing to the earth. And here there will be a force of repulsion will be there, right? Force of repulsion will be there. What is that force? If this charge on this A is Q1 and charge on B is Q2, and what will the force? It will be, force will be what? 9 into 10 raised to 9, okay, into Q1 into Q2, right? Q1 into Q2 divided by the distance. Distance is what? R will be what? 10 centimeter you have changed into meter, right?
Meter.
So 10 into 10 divided by 100, correct? So 0.1 will come, right? 0.1, 0.1 square, is it correct? K into right, this is the repulsive force. Suppose this one has Q1 and this has Q2 charges, then the force of repulsion, there will be a repulsive force, right? This will have a repulsive force in this direction, right, along the line of join. So K into Q1 Q2 by R square. Fine. Now secondly, what they are saying, see, we have another two spheres, which is C and D. We are considering all these are identical. We are bringing this C and touching A. Similarly, D and touching B. They are on insulated stand, so it will not grounding. It is not flowing to the earth, or the charge will not flow. So when the C is bringing and touching A, charge distribution will take place. How the charge distribution will take place? Both are identical size, same material, everything. What will happen to the charge? What will happen to the charge? Tell me someone. Whether correct or wrong, you have to interact with me. If people are there.
What was the question?
Yes, sir.
When we are bringing this C and touching on A, what will happen?
Charge will happen.
What are Mr. saying?
Charge will be distributed.
How the distribution will take place? Both are same size and same. Both are spheres, same, identical. So it will be equally distributed, right? So there was a charge on A, it is Q1, and C was neutral. So half the charge will be given to C. Now the A is Q1 by 2, right? Similarly, C also half of that one, right? Q1 by 2. The charge will be distributed equally. Similarly, what happened this one? This will be Q2 by 2. This also will be Q2 by 2. Clear? Understood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, third, what we are doing? See, after that, we are bringing near these two balls, first the ball A and ball B, the spheres, sphere A and sphere B, but the distance is halved. Now it is 5 centimeter. 5 centimeter. So what happened? What will be the repulsive force now? What is repulsive force? Who can say? Tell me. What will be the repulsive force? No one know?
So,
Hmm? See, initially what was the charge on this one? Initially charge on this was Q1. This is Q2, right? So what is the force? Force is equal to K into Q1
into
Q2
by R square.
R square. Whatever the value, just by formula we can say R square, right? This is the one.
Yes, sir.
Now what happened? Now the Q1 is halved, right? After bringing a neutral body which is identical, we touch this one. So this Q1 is changed into Q2, right? The new value is Q2. Q1 is changed. What happened to the Q2? Q2 is also, Q1 is halved. Q2 is also halved. Correct? Q2 is also halved. What happened to the distance R? R also halved. Correct? Before it was 10 centimeter away, right? We kept it 10 centimeter away. Correct? 10 centimeter away we kept it. So now what happened to the R? R is also reduced. So what will be the new force of repulsion? New force of repulsion will be F equal to K into half of Q1, right? Into half of Q2, right? Half of Q2 divided by half of R whole square. Correct? Correct? So this will be equal to K into Q1 into Q2 by 4, right? Q1 into Q2 by 4. This 2 into 2 is 4. All divided by, this will become what? R square by 2 square is 4. Correct? So can we cut this 4 and 4? First fraction multiplied by the reciprocal of other one. So what will happen? 4 and 4 get cancelled, right? Understood or not? This first
Yes,
fraction multiplied with the reciprocal. So 4 and 4 get cancelled, right? So what is remaining? K Q1
by R square.
by R square, right? So there is no change initially and finally we are getting the same charge. See, here the value, here the value, both are same. Clear? Understood? Understood or not? Anyone has any doubts? This is R square, not 2, right? This is R square.
Yeah.
R square, people? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So note it. Note it first. What happened to Riham? Riham, what happened? Riham, what happened? Riham, what happened to you?
Oh, nothing, sir. I couldn't hear you, so I just left and joined back.
But you didn't understand the explanation, you got it? When I explained this
Yeah,
thing.
I got it. I just left like 5 seconds ago or something.
I asked you, I was silent only. I asked you to copy this one. And I'm waiting for your,
You asked me.
everyone, just copy this one.
Sorry, sir. I couldn't hear you. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Yes,
Done?
sir. Done.
Noted?
Yeah. Yeah.
Amisha, Amina, Done?
Yeah.
Rehan.
Yeah, so 1 second.
Lot of background sound. Note it.
Yeah, done.
Done? Okay. Fine. So the electrostatic force on A due to B remains unaltered. Okay, unaltered. Now, comparison of gravitation and electrostatic forces. There are some similarities and there are some differences also. Similarities are what? Both forces act along the line joining the masses or charges, right? Suppose we have a sphere here and we have another sphere here, okay, and the line joining, this is the line joining between them. Fine. Like joining the centers, this is the one. Fine. So both gravitational force and electrostatic force, both act through the line of join, right? They obey inverse square law. Inverse square law means what? Inverse square law. It means force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Inverse square law. 1 by r square. Okay. Fine. These are the similarities. Now the differences. What are the differences? Gravitational force is attractive. Always attractive only. Newton said that every object in the universe attract each other by a force which is directly proportional to the product of the masses and inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. But electrostatic force is attractive or repulsive. If unlike charges, they will attract. Like charges, repulsive, based on the nature of the charges. That is the one difference. Second one, gravitational force is independent of the medium. Whatever the medium, whether it is vacuum or air or any other medium, gravitational force is independent because there is no factor for that one. F equal to G into m1 m2 by r square, and G is a constant value, right? That is 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11, right? But electrostatic force is medium dependent. The reason is what? K is not a fixed value, it is a value depends upon the medium, like 4 pi epsilon 0. Epsilon 0 is the permittivity of the free space, vacuum. So using this permittivity of the free space, we have taken the value 9 into 10 raised to 9 as the approximate value. That is always for the vacuum only. If there is some other medium, dielectric mediums are there something, then the force of electrostatic between the charges will change. That we are going to learn in the next sessions. Okay, so instead of epsilon 0, some other value epsilon is given. So we have to take the permittivity of that space we have to consider. So a gravitational force is independent of the medium, electrostatic is dependent on the medium. Now gravitational force is weakest force in the nature, right? But electrostatic is stronger force. It is not the strongest, it is not the higher one, but strong. Okay, highest one is nuclear force. So this is the comparison, just for understanding. Fine. Okay. Now, okay, these questions I will give you as a assignment. We are doing for all the questions, time will be less. We are going very slow. Fine, we'll start vector form of Coulomb's law. Vector forms of. Other questions, I will make assignment. So you have to work on that one. Assignment, proper work on the paper and send me that. And only I will come to know that your understanding and your mistakes. Okay. Fine. Now, Divesh, where are you?
Yes, sir.
Just open the, at least let me see you.
No one else is turning on the camera, only I'm doing it every class.
You are a boy, right? Just open it. I have to see you people are in front of
What's
me.
that supposed to mean?
Right?
You're a boy, so open. Turn on the
Nothing.
camera.
I know that's weird, but
Divesh, I have to see someone who is sitting in front of me. Then only the class will, I have to get a flow. Where is yours, open or not?
yes, sir.
Or else I can't see you. Okay. So I can talk to you directly. Fine. Here, the students are in front and no issues. Otherwise, Okay. See, vector form of Coulomb's law. Actually, force is a vector quantity, right? Force is a vector quantity. So, till now, we have learned their magnitude only. We have learned their magnitude, right? We didn't consider their force direction, in which direction the force is acting. We didn't consider. But actually, it is a vector quantity, so you have to do it calculation vectorially. Vectorially, you have to do. Fine. That's why we are going for the vector form of Coulomb's law. Fine. So, vector form of Coulomb's law, vector has a branch of mathematics. Vector addition is a different type of addition, not like algebra, right? In 5 plus 5 is 10, but in vector maybe 5 plus 5 is a different value, depends upon the direction, right? So vector addition is a different branch of mathematics. Subtraction, multiplication, division, all these are different things. Okay. I think for Riham I have taken in details, right? Vector class.
When, sir?
When you are in 11th grade in vector.
Really? I don't remember.
You will not remember anything. Fine. Okay. For others, let me try to do some video because we have less time. If I am starting, it will take too much. It will take 3-4 classes. I don't know. If I am saying details. Okay. So I told you to revise the 11th standard book. Have you done it? Vectors, vector addition, multiplication, unit vectors, ij, k concepts, scalar multiplication, vector multiplication. Lot of concepts are there in the vector. Have you people revised?
I think I know it somewhat.
What about others? Amna, Rihanna, Riham, and Remisa. Tell me about.
I don't think Remisa's there.
What about Remisa?
Yeah, I know little.
Amna. Amna is there? Oh, she's out. Amna, what about the, you can hear me? What about the vector? Vector knowledge? Amna is there? No. Okay, anyhow, see. Okay. What about your knowledge about vector? Vector addition, vector subtraction, vector multiplication, scalar multiplication, vector multiplication. Okay, fine. Okay, anyhow. So vector has if the forces are acting in a straight line, then we can do direct addition and subtraction. Same direction we can take it as positive, and opposite direction we can take it as negative. Suppose we have a 5 Newton is acting in this way, Okay, 5 Newton is acting this way, and a 3 Newton is acting in this way, but in the same line, straight line. Okay, 5 Newton in one direction and 3 Newton in the opposite direction. So what you have to do is take this one direction as positive, other one as negative. So normal algebraic addition you can do, right? Positive 5 plus negative 3 plus negative 3. So what you will get? You will get an answer positive 2, right? It means the resultant will be what? Resultant will be a 2 Newton in the right, like this. Okay, if they are acting in the straight line. But the case, if it is in different angle, one is acting like this, okay, another is acting like this, then what is the resultant vector? Resultant vector will be not like this. If we have angle between them, you have to know the angle between them. To do the calculation, you have to know angle between them. If the angle between them is theta, and this vector is A vector, and this vector is B vector, then we will do root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta, right? Or you have to convert this into unit vectors, I cap and j cap. Similarly, this you have to change into I cap and j cap, and we have to do the addition. Okay, so I will take in details, little bit details later, but in this time we will concentrate on our formula derivation. Okay, fine. What about the position vector? What do you mean by position vector? Position vector means what? Position vector means okay, see, if you have a vector, that vector, if you are considering from the origin, okay, then we can say position vector. Okay, so with respect to origin, if you are talking about a vector, that is actually position vector. So origin depends upon our consideration, right? It's a Cartesian plane, so origin we can consider depends upon what we are doing and where we are doing. So different cases we can take different origins. Okay, so one origin will be fixed in that context. So with respect to that origin, we will talk the position vector. Okay, suppose I have a vector like this. Fine, this is my vector. Okay, fine. If A is the vector, this A vector, normally the textbook they will give the vector form as a bold letter. See, they will bold it in our textbook, all they are done bolding. But in writing, we have to draw a arrow on the top, a notebook, and our writing, all this we will do as an arrow. But in textbook you cannot see this arrow. So whenever they are talking about the vector quantity, that formula will be f. If f is a vector, they will bold it f. Okay, but when you are doing in our context, our writing, we have to write like this, f vector, we will write like this. But textbook is equivalent to that one, they are just bolding it, just bold it and write it. So they are making a lot of confusion for the students. Okay, so just understand that difference. Both are same only. Textbook is they are presenting like this, but we are doing like this. Okay. Now, see, we have a point, this point, and this is another point. Let this point is P and this point is Q. Fine, PQ. So this point P and this point Q. This point P has a position vector. That is this red vector. Position vector normally denoted by small r vector. So this vector is r1 and this vector is r2. This is vector r2. Fine. So this point P, its position vector is r1 vector and this point Q is r2 vector. Okay. So this PQ vector or A vector, or we can say PQ vector. PQ vector means actually R2 vector minus R1 vector. So it is PQ is a displacement vector. From this point P, it is moved till Q, right? So it is displaced. P is displaced to Q. So we can say that PQ is a displacement vector. It is equal to its final position vector. That is R2 vector minus initial position vector, that is R1 vector. Okay, so the formula we will write all this R2, R1 like that. So whenever a displacement is that, that displacement vector can be represented by position vector. How? Final position vector minus initial position vector. So note this one. It is useful for our Coulomb's vector form. Note it first, we have less time. So tomorrow we have chemistry, right? Chemistry.
Yes, sir.
But I have a meeting in school. Parents council meeting is there. So can we make it on Friday? I have to give you one session extra also. So there will be 2 sessions, 40 plus 40. Friday.
I don't know.
Friday same time we will start. Or 5 o'clock. Friday 5 o'clock we start. No, not 5, right? This is 5, 6 is okay? 6 o'clock?
I think so, sir. Yeah.
What about this? Yours is okay? There will be 2 sessions. Okay, there will be, I will give maybe 10 minutes break and for the prayer, those who want, and to start again next class. What about this?
Two sessions, both will be chemistry?
Yeah, chemistry.
Okay, I'm
Tomorrow. Okay, what about Amna and Anissa is not there for chemistry. Amna.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so tomorrow there will not be class. That class we will take it on Friday 6 o'clock. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Fine. Is copied? Is copied?
Yes, sir.
Understood, right? So this PQ is a displacement vector P to Q. So that is what? R2 minus R1. Suppose if instead of P going to Q, suppose Q is coming towards P. That is like this. See, this is yellow one. So what will be that one? That will be QP vector, right? It will be a QP vector. What will be QP vector now? QP vector will be final minus initial. Final is what? R1 vector, right? So R1 vector minus R2 vector will be the displacement vector. So this QP will be represented by R1 vector minus R2 vector. Clear?
So 1 second.
Yeah.
So tomorrow you're not taking class?
No, instead of we are doing on Thursday. I mean Friday.
Friday, okay, yeah.
Tomorrow I have a parents council in the school this time. Fine. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Understood this one, right? So r1 vector minus r2 vector. If it is qp vector in this direction. So for our, now you have to know another things, that is unit vector. What is unit vector? You have less 1 minute. Any time you will finish it. Unit vector means what? Unit vector. Unit vector means it will show only the direction. Its magnitude is 1. So in Coulomb's law, our vector, our formula 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q1 q2 by r square, we will keep it as it is. To show a direction, we will use unit vector. We will use unit vector to show the direction. So this I will explain you next class. Understood?
So just send me the PPT, surface chemistry, the second part of it from Catalyst 1. The first 2 slides I haven't completed the notes.
So video is not there?
Video is not there for the first 2 classes.
Okay. Catalyst.
Catalyst part, yeah.
Okay, fine. So same force, our formula is what? Formula is F equal to K into